All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
7565, 1342. Is it on?
Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Westwood First Presbyterian Church. My name is Rich Jones. I'm the pastor here at Westwood First, and I get the privilege of saying welcome, and also the bathrooms are back here if you need them, and hopefully you enjoyed the food. I also do want to say, while we get started here, a big thank you to the Westwood First design team that put this together. So, if you're on the design team, stand up. Mary Beth? Hey, Mary Beth, raise your hand. And Adam here. These guys have been working along with so many other folks to kind of put together and make the setting as it is, and welcome and hospitality. And then tonight with the design of the sessions in the next few days. It seems like the next few days, and tonight and tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. So here's the thing. Here's my hope that in the next tonight and tomorrow is for you. I hope it's a deep conversation with yourself and with others. And while you're doing that you're able to explore some of those places within your soul of really who you are, as well as in place. This is a conversation that's been happening, actually. I'm looking at my friend Allison and Rolf. Where's Rolf? Oh, right in front of me. We've been a part of a Zoom call for about 2 years and thinking about a gathering. And then here we are doing this. And then the folks that have come around and have co-created their vision into this too. It's been a beautiful tapestry of coming together. So we are so glad that the table has been set and that you have accepted the invitation to come to this table of the next 24 hours or so. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce Dave and Rolf, who are going to come up and take us into the next, really get us started, because I'm just here standing talking and probably should just be quiet and let you guys do your thing. There you go. Welcome, everyone. So glad to be with you. We're going to start each session with some music. We recognize music as a way to bring us together, to bond us, to help center us, and it's a fun thing to do. And to start our time together, we wanted to acknowledge that God is here among us as we speak, as we learn, as we connect to one another. So we're going to sing a song, an Iota song.
Beautiful singing. Great job. My name is Rebecca Beausarge, Becky. I'm a pastor in the Presbyterian Church USA, and my ministry is in the area of spiritual formation. I'm a resource for spiritual formation here in the Cincinnati area and beyond. And I'll be with you at the beginning of each session after we sing some great music, and to guide you in a bit of an opening reflection maybe, conversation maybe, to think about sort of a theme of why we're here maybe. It is on. I'll just hold it closer. Thank you. The name of this gathering is Soul Place. So I wanted to start tonight by thinking about that name. What makes a place a soul place? What do we even mean by soul? There is a book called A Hidden Wholeness by Parker Palmer, and he has a description of the soul in it that I just love and I always come back to. So I'm going to read that description to you. And I want you to think about it and experience it and see if your soul resonates with this description at all. He compares the soul to a wild animal. Like a wild animal, the soul is tough, resilient, resourceful, savvy, and self-sufficient. It knows how to survive in tough places. Yet, despite its toughness, the soul is also shy. Just like a wild animal, it seeks safety in the dense underbrush, especially when other people are around. If we want to see a wild animal, we know that the last thing we should do is go crashing through the woods, yelling for it to come out. But if we will walk quietly into the woods, sit patiently at the base of a tree, breathe with the earth, and fade into our surroundings, the wild creature we seek might put in an appearance. And Palmer suggests that most of our society is organized in such a way that it feels more like crashing around in the woods. Our political institutions, our educational institutions, our workplaces, sometimes our religious institutions, our souls don't necessarily feel safe to make an appearance sometimes. So I want you to think for just a moment about your own experiences, times, situations, communities, people that you're with, that your soul did not feel welcome. Your soul couldn't show itself. Your soul decided to just sit that one out because it just didn't feel comfortable or safe to show your genuine self. But maybe there are other situations where your soul has felt safe. People that you're with, that's who comes to mind for me, is certain people that are my soul place, where they accept me as I am and they don't expect me to be anything other than what I am, and they love me as I am. And I do the same for them. So throughout this gathering, you're going to have a chance to talk with each other, and I'm going to invite you to do some of that. So in a minute, I'm going to invite you to find a couple of people that you don't know and introduce yourself and tell each other about one of your soul places. Might be a situation, might be people in your life, as it is for me, might be an environment, might be an actual place, who knows? So I'm going to invite you to stand up, find a couple people you don't know, go ahead and have that conversation.
You do not have to stop talking, but I'm going to start talking here in just a moment. Worked pretty well. Hey, I'm Adam, and I work here at Westwood First. I also run a small but mighty nonprofit called Friends for Good. Used to be called Kids for Peace. And we have what I think is a hidden gem in Cincinnati. We have an interfaith harmony camp that happens every summer. It's a day camp, Monday through Friday. I just want to share a few quotes from some of the young people that have been through this camp. This here is Farah, and just to back up a little bit, during a few of the sessions, during our time together today and tomorrow, you're going to hear a few more community stories of good stuff that's happening here in Cincinnati that you may not know of. And so hopefully you'll hear these good things and then go out and tell other people about them. So this is Farah, wonderful, wonderful woman. And she came into the program the first year I was there in 2018. She was one of the high school leaders. High schoolers get together, plan the camp, and then facilitate about 90% of the camp for middle schoolers. And when I asked her, hey, can you send me a quote about your experience? This was several years ago. She sent this back. She said, Friends for Good has taught me about the power of human connection. It amazes me how campers each year join our Friends for Good family with such open minds. These youth are able to accomplish what people before them have struggled to do, to see others not as outsiders, but potential friends. Oftentimes in the interfaith world, people think you get together and you solve all these problems. That's not what we do at camp. At camp, we have fun. We try to cultivate friendship. And these are three friends, didn't know each other before camp, and three different religions represented here. It was Jay, Kai, and Nora. And Nora's there on the right, and she was hilarious all the time. She'd come into the room with her big smile, make us all laugh. Jay somehow got on this slide presentation twice. That's Jay in the middle. Shanaz there on the left, and I'm blanking on her name. I know that she's very into art, and she goes to UC, so I'll remember her name, though. And these are three young people representing different religions that came together and became friends as a result. So we have a lot of fun at camp. We play a lot of games. We eat a lot of food. And so the goal is by Friday afternoon, all the kids are exchanging phone numbers and want to get together and keep their friendships going. And as those friendships keep going, they build up trust, and then they can dig and go deeper and have, more meaningful conversations about some of the world's problems. This is Jack. Early on in our organization, we had some camps that we were a part of outside of Cincinnati. One such camp brought Israeli teens and Palestinian teens together. I think it was in North Carolina. Jack went to one of these camps and had an amazing time there. It was life-changing. And he said about his experience, one thing I've learned from Friends for Good is how two people can see the same thing in a completely different way, and how both sides can sit down and talk about that thing. If both sides can understand why the other feels that way, they can more easily come to a solution that fits everyone's needs. And just recently, Jack's off at college studying diplomacy, inspired by his time at Friends for Good. And he sent me this text not too long ago, which I welcomed with open arms, and now we have to figure out how to do it. I would love to host a session about Israel and Palestine. So later this summer, we're going to host a session for teenagers to come and just listen, hear some history about that land. Jack is very invested in that, and he knows a lot about it. He studied it, so he's going to do a little presentation about the history of the land, and then they're going to write down questions. We're just going to have a civil conversation about it, and it's going to be amazing because these kids, they don't get riled up and fight with each other. They talk, and they listen to each other, and they build empathy, and it's amazing. This is Zoe. She was another young student that came through our program, and she's actually, Zoe. Do you know what college she's at? I can't remember. Agnes Scott. And studying, I forget the exact thing, but something around religious studies. Comparative religion. Also in part inspired by her time at Friends for Good, which is really cool. I asked her, share a little something about your experience at our camp. And she said this: Friends for Good has taught me that there is power in connection. When I have a community to work and grow with, I can do much more than I could on my own. And so each year we try to foster that community. We try to get kids in the door and just have a lot of fun with them, play lots of games, eat a lot of fun food, and just really help to foster friendships across any divides they come in with, whether it's religious divides. We have some campers that are a little wealthier, some campers that are not very wealthy, different racial divides. We just try to get them in there and just have a good time and cultivate friendship. And then from there, the kids kind of lead. Some want to get into the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Others have wanted to go down other social justice issues. We just kind of follow their lead from that point. And so anyway, I think it's a really cool camp, and I haven't seen a similar camp like it around here. And I just encourage you, if you know young people that you think might benefit from such a camp, I do have some flyers up here, and there's some flyers out in the back to the left, and also down to answer any questions you have. But please, next time you're out in the world and someone says something interfaithy, or you meet someone with a younger person, say, hey, I have a camp that your young person might want to go to. So just be ready to spread the good news of Friends for Good. All right, thank you for that. Now we are going to hear from our good friend Peter Block. So if you want to give him a big smile, want to clap for him, snap your fingers, here's Peter.
I think I have a mic. Does it work? Good. That was the hardest part. Finding the button. So it's a complicated reason that we're here. Soul, place. I love starting with the arts. Seems to me the arts are an amazing way we come together. Song, and you don't have to understand the words. And it kind of gives us a voice. And I think I like the notion of place. And most of my life is organized around how to inhabit a place. We're used to beautiful places. This room is an example. And so on these walls and in these windows is a narrative and a story of what's possible for us. And the challenge is to embody it in the way we come together. Now, the room's not designed for connection. Adam says they learn connection. And to me, that may be the point. That maybe I need you to discover my soul. We're very individualistic in this world. And therapy, spirituality, the church, my relationship with God. We have platforms for professionals to help interpret God. I was here when Rich was installed, and I love the notion we're installing a pastor this Sunday. I did a refrigerator in the morning. I did an air conditioner at noon, and at 1:15, I installed Rich. And so we have that habit. It's a modernist habit. Modern world has no memory. What's new? There's a thing on Martin Luther King, what is next? You see us marketing next. We have a culture that tells us we're not enough, that we should buy more. It has a culture that is designed for our isolation because we're easier to control when we don't know each other. And so to me, the conference, being together, is to create an alternative to that and maybe treat connection as if it's the point. And for me, if I look for God, I can look in this place and find her, or I can look in your eyes. And so for 8 minutes, I was in the eyes of Linda, Kate, and those 8 minutes were the point. I learned something about their life, about their pain, about their joy, about the places they found something. And so to me, the idea of connection is enormously undervalued and powerful. And I spend my life rearranging rooms. So there was a church in Milwaukee that wanted to get rid of pews bolted to the ground, all facing forward. So I walk in the door. I'm always welcomed in a church. I don't care who I am. And then I sit and wait for the show to start. And everybody in the room has turned their back on me by design. Okay, and maybe there was a time when that was beautiful. But now at some point in this place in Milwaukee, wanted to lift up the pews and use the room for people to come together all week long, because there aren't many uses for this configuration during the week, all right, unless you want to sit and pray. And it went to the Vatican and was refused. If you get rid of the pews, you sacrifice something fundamental to what our church represents. So that is the challenge. That's the gift to us. That's what we come together for. Say, no matter what the world hands me, I don't care what the room looks like. We always have a choice as to how to inhabit it. And I live for the protocols of connection. Most of our life is the protocols of instruction. So we go to school, and the first thing we do is tell me, Peter, you're here to compete with each other. They were my friends, now they're my competition. And this is the market economy, I get it. And I realized I was a B student. A's scared me, and C's scared me also. And my sophomore year in college, I got D's and C's. Terrified me. I actually became a good student because of that. And so for me to get an A or a B, somebody had to fail. Otherwise, there's no normal curve. And so to me, the church, the sole place, is to create an alternative for us as to how we choose to be together every time we come. And there's nothing to wait for. And the culture is organized around the story of who we are, which is not true. We are not polarized. Maybe on voting day, and I love the notion, Palestinian Israel, there's no need to have a conversation about that. And a philosopher friend of mine, he said, I warn you, if you argue with me, I'm going to take your side. Ruined my life. And so I know we see the world differently, but only on voting day, only in the news, only when people have an agenda, that the dark side of the church is its certainty. So to me, the opposite of love is certainty, not hate, not isolation. And I think with Rich and the place that this is and the fact you're here tonight, is this is a place of faith, a place of belief, but you're welcome no matter how you see the world. I don't care how you see the world. I'm not that interested, actually. What do we want to create together? This is what you're trying to do, Adam, with these kids. And it's easy with them. It's hard with us. I want you to start an adult connection. Well, maybe that's what this is. And so to me, that's the sole place, is how we choose to be together. Not how I choose to be with God. I love that. I love faith. Whenever I travel, I go right to the churches and sit down. Because there's something in that, and some of them are pretty serious. Okay, you go to Eastern Europe and stuff like that, and they got St. George killing a dragon. I don't care. You got to believe in something. And so, but the work is then every time we get together, we say, how do I engage in a conversation I'm not used to having with people I'm not used to talking to? And so if this room means anything, if soul place means anything, it's not just finding a place where I feel safe. It's finding a place that welcomes the stranger. And that's what we've lost sight of, because the dominant culture is modern, speed, all right, cost. Every time Amazon pulls up to my front door, I have an existential crisis. To go after the driver? Do I cut the tires? Do I lay down in front of the car? And of course I do nothing and have my wife and daughter go out and get the package and glad it's there. Okay, so life is never that simple. And so it's all about speed, convenience. The social media makes gossip legitimate. How did that happen? That when people gossip, it's called news. And so this is all around us, all right? And so we say, well, soul place is a place where things happen slow, okay? they are extremely inconvenient. For me to find God in your eyes, for me to find a soul place, for me to find that you came from Scotland, to remind me of where I came from, okay? It's slow, inconvenient, unpredictable, underfunded. I'll take it. And that's what the soul place means to me, is a place where we come together and then we have conversations that we're not used to having, conversations that treat me as an agent, not as a memory. I'm not interested in your story. You can tell me your story, how you grew up, your mother, your father, your uncle, your sister, your brother, or not. And I know that that's the way I manufactured meaning to live with my experience. But it's not true. It's not who I am. We want to label each other for the sake of the social service industrial complex. All right? It's a $1 billion industry in Cincinnati giving services to people that we have names for. Poor, disabled, unhoused, no education. That's nothing to do with who they are. They're people that are broken. We should do something about that. And so to me, it's a saying, well, what are the conversations we can have? And your story is interesting, but I act as if it explains who I am. It doesn't. It's a fiction I made up. I was a wandering Jew for the first 50 years of my life. And that explained everything. I was isolated. I moved, and I couldn't remember who my neighbors were. That's because, and all of a sudden, because I realized it's just something I made up, and I could choose it to change it in a minute. So the purpose of a soul place is to help me redecide what context I want to live in at this moment. And I can't be explained by my history. So I'm old. And it's scary. I'm going to be 86 next month. Why are you so healthy? Leave me alone. I was going to put in a swear word, but I decided to omit it. Fate? Destiny? I don't know. People die now, and you try to explain why they died. Oh, he smoked. He didn't smoke. He stood. He didn't stand. He didn't make eye contact. He did make eye contact. Oh, he lived. I know somebody 96 years old that's skydiving. Leave me alone. Okay? And so all of these are fictions that a soul place explodes. I can't be explained that way, which means because there is a God, I chose my life. And I can shift my story any moment I want. I'm not doomed to be a wandering Jew. And I love the notion that Adam and Eve, and God sent the serpent to Eve. Okay, God, he was top management, okay? And the serpent, eat the apple. And Eve ate the apple. And in that moment, somebody told me once, God, because he loved us, gave us our freedom. That she could have stayed in paradise. And instead of paradise, God gave us the freedom to choose. And that bite of the apple was an expression. And it wasn't an original sin. A guy named Matthew Fox wrote a book called Original Blessing. He was tired of being born in sin. An original blessing. And he got put on pause for 12 months for having written that book. And so all that's swirling around in this room and in this place, and your being here allows you to question, what does it mean to be free? And that's why I love faith. People say, are you hopeful? I don't know. Things are a little troubled now. I was born into the Second World War. Things were not going well. I remember the early days, and we were losing. And so I think you're going to get, if you want, is it a rhythm? Is it a cycle? I don't know. And so you say, well, maybe we're here to decide who we want to be together and what world we want to create, regardless of those things. And one of the things we're trying to do is what you said is come and tell this story. Well, what you're doing is part of a creative economy. And it's an alternative story. And everybody in this room are living in ways that are not commercialized. Half of what you do, and I was saying to Rolf that Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, okay, his mother cooked his dinner for free every night of his life. And so what do you mean self-interest is who we are? And so to me, a soul place is to create an alternative, not to argue against it. Vote, fine. But we're not going to change the corner office. The people in charge have one job to do, which is to manage the news. A friend of mine worked for Al Gore, and all they did every morning was say, how are we going to manage the news for the next 10 hours? And so to me, a soul place, this moment, us being together, regardless of the story we came with, say, well, how do we want to create an alternative economy? How do we want to decide that what you're doing in your uncommercialized world or poorly commercialized world may be news? Maybe it's more important for our attention. That's what's going on in the market world, in that world. And I think the church it's essential. Where else can I find a place that has the language and the words of generosity and grace and faith and peace built in? All right? Now, whether we live it out or not, this is no time to be picky. And churches are struggling. 100,000 churches will go out of business in this decade. And my thought is, so? And the churches wondered, what do we do with the property? You know, there's a church that he used to be involved in that had X amount of $1 million. And their only question was, how long can we survive without a congregation? The answer was 17 years. Go for it. And so we're reframing even the infrastructure of our sacred institutions. But in this room, you have a conversation. You have a language. And all we have to do is say, now how do we live that out, no matter what? That even after we've installed a pastor and had a beautiful ceremony, I loved it because I got to speak. I was in charge of community prayer. And to do that, it's on my resume, I had to be commissioned to have a voice during the installation. And I said, thank you. Most of the places I've been commissioned were sentences. They had long-term consequences that I didn't pay much for, but they were. And so all that's, and it doesn't matter. I don't want to change it. I want to re-inhabit. And that, to me, what this is about. With the song, with the music, with the prayers, with the space, with the walls, and then say, how do we want to inhabit this place together? And how do I sit with you in conversations that I'm not used to having? And the conversations are, what's the crossroads you're at this stage of your life? What's the no you've been postponing? As soon as I answer that, I'm an agent. I don't care what the answer is. All right? What's the yes you no longer mean? Hey, come on, man. When I make a commitment, oh, baloney. I've broken most of the promises I've ever made. And so you ask questions that engage people as agents. So the work of Soul Place is to help us come together in a way with the music and the language and everything you'll do to realize that together we are creating the world we want to inhabit. And I can't do that without you. I can pray, I can go inward, I can go to nature, I can go into these windows, I can go into whatever my place is, but sooner or later, I'm going to have to walk out of that place and be with you. And it's interesting, my daughter's a Zen teacher, okay? So no better, happier for a Jew to have a daughter who's a Buddhist, okay? It doesn't get any better than that. And all of her examples are in retreat. So once a week, she and Kathy and Donna and I spend an hour, and she takes us through. But all of her examples are during retreat. And all the stories are. And so our job is to say, no, being together, I can't wait for retreat. I can't wait for solace. I can't wait for nature to create a world I want to inhabit. And Rich knows that. I mean, if I ask you why you're here, Rich would be somewhere on that list. And I think, I don't know. That's why I love being here. And I talk too much. They gave me a mic, lined you up. And thank God you acted interested. You did your part. I did mine. So let me end with one small little thing with the person next to you. And I love the question of where does wisdom reside? Okay, up here, here. So I'd like you to think of if you had a grandmother, grandparent, who was about to die, what's the one question you would ask her? Okay? And the other one, I'd say if you were the grandparent, and this is the last time with your favorite grandchild, what's the one piece of advice you would give that child? So think about that, and I'd like you to share that. One of you be the grandchild. Here's the question I have. The other be the grandparent. Here's the one piece of advice I would give to you before I go. So do this, talk to each other. If it's a threesome, nobody's watching, okay? Talk faster. You have 4 minutes to do this, because I'm way over schedule, and I will pay consequences for that. Talk to the person. What's the one piece of advice I would ask for? What's the one piece of advice I would give?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Or like, what's the...
All right. So let me bring you back. Nobody ever wants to come back. Stop meaningful conversations. I'm in charge. Yeah, I'm standing, you're sitting. Hello. So the other last thought is that for a soul place, connection, you say, well, what produces energy and what consumes it? Art, voice, music produces energy. Speaking consumes it. You talking to each other produces energy. And so you say, how do we inhabit this place with questions that have consequence? They're not just interesting. They're not about yesterday. They don't treat my story as if it's true. People say, let me tell truth to power. Stop wasting your time. It's not truth and not in charge. They're not power. Why do you construct a world like that? And I'm going to share no, it's not your truth. It's the story you constructed to get through the day. And once I realize that, then I can reimagine it. And part of what Adam's doing with the youth is to say, look, you can reconstruct the story. And it doesn't matter how old you are. The other thing about aging is people want to pass the torch is an act of cowardice, an act of deep irresponsibility. Am I done? Why would you think that? Am I useless? Absolutely, but I've been useless for most of my life. Okay? And so all of these constructs you begin to question. And you say, how do we come together? How do we produce energy as a result of being here? And you don't come to meet people's expectations. To ask you what you expect is to treat you like a consumer. I'm not willing to be with consumers. I want to be with citizens. I want to be with agents. And so the questions and all. Anyway, I'm going to stop now. Also, I'm not going to ask you for questions because question and answer sessions are a version of the empire. Oh, you've got the questions, I've got the answers. Give me a break. Anyway, thank you for putting up with me. Take care.
All right. Before we move on to the next thing, let's just take a moment to just sit. You can close your eyes if you need to, but Peter said a lot of things, and you heard some things from this person next to you. So just take a moment to just kind of reflect over the last few minutes, and then we'll proceed. So we're going to split up into 6 different groups here in just a moment. You'll see the numbers on the wall. We have 0, 1 over there, 2 in the far back, 4, 5, and as you expect, 9 back there. If you're wondering why in the world those numbers are the way they are, that makes sense. You should wonder that because it is unusual. And I'm not going to tell you the answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to split up into 6 different groups. We will have a person at each group so you kind of have a friendly face to go to. And we're just going to reflect on what you've experienced tonight or just whatever is on your mind. These are called listening labs. And the idea is to listen to one another. And my good friend Joey Taylor always preaches 3 things about listening that really helped me, and that I should listen with my body, lean into the conversation. I should listen with my imagination, knowing that I can't live your experience, but I can try to imagine what it's like. And listen with gratitude. So if someone says something that you really enjoyed or struck a chord and you want to thank them, we can thank them. And the one I have to remember is don't try to one-up people. Don't make it about me. Just listen to the person that's talking and just give space for that. And also to give space for silence. Sometimes people need a little bit of silence before they share a little something. So we'll just keep those ideas in mind. At the end, towards the end of our time in our listening labs, we will invite you, maybe the leaders will invite you, or maybe you'll just feel like doing it on your own, to come up here. There's some paper up here, and you can write down a word or a phrase or a picture that's kind of bubbling up inside of you, and you're welcome to put it up here on this nice little wire structure. Also, Amy has, where's Amy? Amy is somewhere. Amy has art stuff, is that right? Yes? Yeah. More tomorrow, okay. But if you need something else, if you're in a group and you're just not feeling it for whatever reason, that's totally fine. If you need to just go sit by yourself, you need to go up to the balcony, go in the back out there, just take a moment. You're welcome to. You have agency here. You know what you need, so feel free to kind of move around as you would like. Last thing, if you would go to a group that is kind of far away from you, don't just go to the one next to you. Try to find a group far away, and if we catch you going to a group that's really close, we will not kick you out, so don't worry about that. Yeah, I think that's it. So you can, and try to keep them kind of equal, 7-ish people per group or so. Try to keep them kind of equal. But you can stand up, go to a group if you would like now, and we're going to have a little reflecting in our small groups. Yes, one more thing. Yes? 5 to 7 minutes? Yeah, we'll do about 5 to 7 minutes in these groups. Okay? So not very long. Thanks, man. All right. Got about a 1-minute warning here.
How about having that class for adults?
I received your deep peace. Thank you. Appreciate it. Before we conclude, just want to see if there's just a few folks that would just share, a few sentences about what you're feeling right now. Just a reflection. Maybe share your word or your phrase. Would anyone like to share? Acceptance. Right on. Anyone else? Deep peace. And one more. Courage. All right. Excellent. So we are going to conclude, but just a few things. First of all, thanks for being here tonight. Hope you got something. And we're going to be hanging out here for a little while. And then at 8:30, we're going to mosey on over to Nations. If you don't know where that is, everyone has phones. You can find it. But what street is that over there? Do you know? It's that way. Epworth? Follow John. He's gonna baptize you later. All right. Free beer. Yeah. If you want to go to Nations, you can't figure it out. Just find someone. We'll figure it out. Yep. Their tater tots are good. Yes. Yeah, which is a good reminder. I've been to many conferences, and I realized on my fifth or sixth one, the stuff I really enjoy about conferences was the in-between time. Just meeting with people, hanging out, having a drink, whatever, just being with people. And so that's kind of what this is. So we invite you to come to hang out here for a little bit and then hang out with us at Nations. Tomorrow, if you want to get here early, 8:30, Fable, a wonderful coffee shop here down the street. They're going to be here. And they're going to have some goodies for us, so I invite you to come a little early. If you did not sign up for any of the tomorrow sessions, but you're like, I'd like to come, just come. Be here with us. It's okay. Doors are going to be open. Just come and be here with us. Thanks for coming tonight. Anything else? I think bring a friend. It's okay. If they didn't register, it's okay. We just want people to experience us together. Anything else? All right. Yeah, thanks for being here.